When you hear Bob Dylan sing like a Rolling Stone, I mean, he sings it with such irony, and I think that is one of the hardest things to capture in music, as well as his ability to turn a phrase on its head. He is arguably the greatest lyricist of all time.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine. You even threw the bumps of dime in your prime. Didn't you?
Well, an old friend of mine, Martin Lewis, approached me. You know, we've known each other for a long time. Actually, ever since I moved to Los Angeles about 21 years ago, we became friends. He said, hey, listen, I'm doing this for Amnesty International. Do you want to sing Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone? Because it's a tribute.
Now, Seal I knew was a supporter of Amnesty because way back on Amnesty's 30th anniversary, he performed at one of the Secret Policeman's Ball shows. He performed with David Gilmour from Pink Floyd.
The thing that I remember most about it was working with Dave Gilmour, because, I mean, how could you ever forget that? And especially for a great cause.
I approached him about it, and he got back to me and said, okay, I'm interested in this.
But only if I could sing like a Rolling Stone, A, and B, only if I could do it with Jeff Beck.
And when I'm sad.
Being in a room when Jeff Beck is, in his mind, noodling, in our mind, displaying genius, is a religious experience. He's a one-off, and he's the last of that kind. I'm fortunate enough that he actually likes what I do.
Riding like the wind.
He's a true lover of music.
Oh, baby.
I always thought Seal had one of the best voices on the scene, and he still has. I mean, it's magic.
He's a very selfless musician, Jeff Beck.
Well, I like the sound of that. Yeah. That was just. Once upon a time, you looked so fine.
When I got the opportunity to sing like a Rolling Stone for such a great cause, how could you pass that up?
So we just followed your track.
Well, we can put it in now.
There was a part of me that was kind of like, gee, how do you do a song that is so iconic? Well, if you're Seal, you have no fear.
How does it feel to be on your own?
I was in the studio at the time recording my soul album, and I said to Trevor Horn, I said, let's just turn around and do a quick demo of this, and it didn't sound too bad.
Trevor Horn is a phenomenal producer. He was there with Seal right at the beginning.
We turned the track over to Martin and said, this is the little demo that we did, you guys better get a track together.
So I went back to my friend Mark Hudson, who I just worked with on the Pete Seeger track, Forever Young.
I love Seal, and I love everything that he's done. He's got a voice that's incredible.
We laid down a basic track, and it was a great band. Russ Kunkel on drums and Leland Sklar on bass. They were the guys who did it for James Taylor and Carole King and Aaron Neville. They're just like great musicians. Jim Cox, who's like the greatest Hammond B3 organ player you've ever heard, and he's currently working with Mark Knopfler on tour with Bob Dylan. And I got my friend Lawrence Juba, who was in Wings. He was the last lead guitarist in Wings, and he came along and played. So we laid down a basic track, and it was pretty hot. I mean, these are phenomenal musicians, and Mark Hudson really knows what he's doing in terms of putting the track together.
We cut a track, and as soon as I heard it, I knew it was magical. It all fell into place.
Seal says, I'd like my friend Jeff Beck to help. Can you reach Jeff? I said, sure, I'll call Jeff. So I reached out to Jeff, and by good fortune, Jeff happened to be coming to LA. So we arranged to get Seal and Jeff in the studio together. And man, it was magical.
Yeah, now exchanging all kinds of precious gifts and things.
Jeff Beck on guitar, Seal singing, and it's weird when you have to produce people that you're such huge fans of. But you're already dealing with an incredible song.
It's just given a new lease of life to that song, I think. It's very similar to the original, but we've got more edge, I think, and more attitude. But it was playing on the plane when I first went to America, and it just sums up the whole of New York scene and the way things were, the whole excitement of me going to America.
Cause you're invisible now, and you got no secrets to conceal.
Jeff was the guy who helped Amnesty back in 1981 when I did the Secret Policeman's Other Ball, and Eric Clapton said could he bring a friend with him. And I remember saying to Eric, well, who's your friend? And he said, Jeff Beck. Deal, come, absolutely. You kidding?
I never ever played with Eric before. I mean, people think we were in the Yardbirds together, but we weren't.
You've got people who, over the years, have all been supporters of Amnesty. Jeff Beck, right there in 1981 at the Secret Policeman's Other Ball. Seal, right there in 1991 at the 30th anniversary, supporting Amnesty. Now the two of them come together fittingly on the 50th anniversary and record Like a Rolling Stone.
You should support Amnesty International. They've done so much for human rights.
Let's not forget about the people that are locked up for just having a belief. How ridiculous. Let's get that sorted out now.
If you somehow work towards giving them the opportunity by supporting Amnesty International, if you give those people the opportunity to be heard, I think it's the very least we can do.